Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we have another teardown video and we are going to be tearing down this distributor. Now before we go ahead and begin guys, if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button down below and definitely smash that like button because it helps the channel out. And with that said, let's go ahead and get into today's teardown. So we have our distributor on our toolbox guys, and I have it on my mats because we're going to be making a mess. Now just so you guys are aware, distributors are kind of an old thing of the past. Most newer cars don't have them. This came out of a older 90s Honda, and it's missing a few things on here, so it's not fully complete. We don't have a rotor or a cap, and you guys can see in there's like a screw that's just being held in by the magnetism. But either way guys, we're gonna rip into this and just see what parts are in here. And for those of you that don't know what a distributor does, typically you'll have wires hooked up to this, and as this spins it'll distribute the spark evenly to fire your engine. This is the old school way of doing it before computers came along and coil packs individually set on each cylinder. So it's kind of a relic in nowadays terms, but still pretty cool to tear one of these apart and see what's inside. What we're gonna do is I'm just gonna start off by cleaning this up a little bit. There's a lot of little brackets and stuff in the way here. So what I'm gonna do is just take off pretty much every Phillips bolt or screw that I see. We have like a bracket here and some wiring harnesses. I just want to clean it up so we have a little bit of a better area to work with, and I just went ahead and I dropped that bracket. So let's take this wire holder off, which just happened to strip out on me, and that's actually not good. So I'm gonna have to grab some pliers here or some cutters, and you know, I hate doing this, but this is going to the trash. I think I'm just gonna cut these wires off here, just make it a lot easier, because I don't want to deal with that bolt there. It's stripped, it's done for. Nothing I can do. This thing has been sitting for a while. So one thing I'm also gonna do is just clip these wires up here as well, just for sake of cleaning it up. Again, if you are rebuilding one of these or doing anything with it that's not destroying it for video purposes like I am, you may want to be a little bit more careful. But this thing will no longer go on a car or anything, so we are going to be, you know, ripping into it. So these typically will have a cap and a rotor on here. Starting off, there is a distributor seal that goes along the perimeter, which is right here. This one is a little brittle, but let me see if she's willing to come out for us. It's typically an O-ring style, and they typically do just like that. And this one still has some life in it. It's still a little rubbery, not in bad shape. Now what you see here is the coil pack. These had one single firing coil, and then as the rotor would turn around, it would distribute the spark. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and unscrew this. Now hopefully these don't strip out, otherwise we're not gonna be able to get too far in it. But they came off, so lucky for us. And it looks like these leads here, it looks like someone's taken one off already. So we're gonna go ahead and just remove the other one. These two leads are the firing for the coil, basically the positive minus, and then that is the coil pack there in itself. This one's actually broken and damaged. As you guys can see, that's not supposed to happen, but you know, it's broken, it's old, what can you do? Now that we have that off, there's that random screw that was just being held in there. Now one thing to help you guys understand here is that this has your crank and your cam sensors built into here. I don't know which one is which, but this external one I believe is the cam sensor, and then back here you guys will see once I remove a majority of this, that you do have another sensor that I believe is the crank sensor. The way that these worked is in conjunction. They had X amount of teeth done by very smart people that did the calculations, that knew when the camshaft would turn this 1 degree, they knew where the crank was by the sensor that's internal here, and then they knew where the cam was by this sensor. Very ingenious design, guys, for not having a lot of computer systems. Back in the day, these were really well thought out, and the ones that predate these are even cooler as far as the concepts. So I'm gonna remove the screw if I can, and it doesn't seem like it's gonna come off. Wow, that's gonna be a little bit of an issue for us if that doesn't come off here. I might have to just break it off. Yep, so we have a stripped screw on there. this is held on by 2 screws. I was trying to get that off, but it's not coming off. So let me go ahead and just remove this controller module here. There's 2 screws, and that is followed by all of these little wires that are all over here. Now, I don't know if these are gonna come off, but let me see if I can just get them off like this. This thing is probably, I want to say, vintage 90s, early 90s, because I am a Prelude lover. If you guys remember the Honda Prelude, I actually own one that I will be revealing here on the channel, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe this would fit that. So this is actually a very common part that goes bad, and I'm actually going to save this, guys. This to me is not junk, because I have a car that could use this. This is the firing module for the coil. This is basically the computer that tells it when to fire and everything of that nature. Sometimes you can throw away a perfectly good distributor just because it needs one of these, or you wind up spending $150 to $200 on one of them because you just need this guy. So I'm actually going to save this. I'm going to put it here for the sake of the video, but afterwards I'm going to hold onto it like it's my most precious thing ever, because, you know, I can use it. Now, hopefully, with that bolt being stuck in there, I can still get off this cover so we can see the other internal workings. So I'm going to remove these 3 screws, and hopefully we can still gain access to what we need here. Let's see if we can do so. So we cut that off, and technically here, if we take our screwdriver, it should open up. But this thing is older, so let me get a bigger screwdriver. And I'm hoping this part of it works out, because I really want you guys to see what's back here. And I don't know if that screw is keeping it in or not. Doesn't seem like it. Give me a minute, guys. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pry on this piece, but I'm going to vise it. See if I can get this whole cover off so you guys can see the internal workings of it. Alright, guys, so I believe I have this opened up. Now, just to explain, because I have to do this on the vise, there is this ring that normally will sit in here, and this ring is to help locate it inside of the engine when you pop this onto the camshaft. And what I did was I went ahead and I drove off this little pin that goes into that little hole right there, and that in turn will allow us to get our drive out for our cam. So we're going to take that off. Now, this typically will have a female portion on the camshaft where it locks into, and it'll basically spin it. And we have these little washers, I guess you can say, that are in there. Now, in theory, I should be able to tap this out. Again, in theory, I haven't done it. I was tempted to, but I wanted to do it on camera. And yep, just like that, she pops out. Now, we're going to look at the internals on this in a second, but I do want to take note as to what's back here as well. So we do have a cam seal or a cam plug seal. The little diameter bore that it goes into has an O-ring, so that's what we have back here. And on this case itself, if you guys will look in there, there is a bushing. If you guys saw a power steering pump that I did a teardown on, probably from the same car as this distributor came out of, you guys will notice that there's a bushing in the bore of that, and this has a similar design. So now that we have that out of the way, this is what's left inside, and this is what came out of it. So if you guys will notice here that this is very intricate. Now we have our sensor here, the one with the screw that I couldn't remove. It's pretty much damaged, and you guys will notice it's a magnetic pickup, so as this turns around, it makes contact with whatever is in there, and that's how it knows where the camshafts are. As far as the crankshaft goes, you guys will notice in there we have this pickup here and then this pickup, and in there we have these 2 sensors. Now I'm going to remove these in a second, but these are just magnetic pickup style sensors that do all the measurements. Now I'm going to remove these by just unscrewing them here. And I believe these are all the same or very similar as far as part numbers go, but just to show you guys here, this is a magnet. It holds it on. And what happens is as this is spinning on there, whenever these little points you guys can see on this little star wheel make contact with it, it has a reference to each cylinder where it is as far as top dead center, I believe. And this one has 4 of them, which indicates a 4-cylinder, which I assume that's what it came out of. And then this back one, I believe it could be reading the cam or the crank. Again, I'm not sure if the front one reads cam or crank or if this one reads it, guys. I'm not an expert when it comes to the internal workings of it, but I do know that these things work a certain way. So that's what's all built into here. And you also have another pickup, since we had the star wheel and this one on there. So you have 2 of these pickups. And you guys can see these are magnetic. It's very old school design, just by this little ring hitting that magnet close enough to create a disturbance in the field will tell the computer where it's at, and basically causes the computer to do whatever it has to do to fire it correctly. Because even though this is pretty basic, there is a little bit of computer control. But it's mainly to know where the engine is in rotation versus the spark. So it knows how to spray fuel and how to, distribute the spark all over it. Even though this thing is the one manually distributing the power to everything as far as the spark plugs go. But this is pretty cool, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I know I like tearing things apart, and this thing is pretty cool. Now, it's not a common technology anymore. It's kind of an old school thing. It's a bygone in sorts. But it's still pretty cool to open these up and take a look at what's inside. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Please comment, like, and subscribe, because it definitely helps the channel grow. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.